Welcome to the Red Pill Sports and Entertainment Show. I am your host, Albert Apache, and as usual, brought to you by Open Source Self Defense, Fitness, and Grappling. Okay, guys, so all the coronavirus talk is going on, and it is what it is. So, apologize about the episodes taking a while to come out, but like everyone else, I also have a family and I have things going on that take a bit. So, apologize for that first and foremost. Second of all, let's go ahead and let's talk about what this means for Jiu Jitsu. So, first and foremost, let me say that I understand that this is a very frustrating time for those of us who lead active lifestyles. Essentially, they're telling us that we can't do many of the things that we love and that we enjoy doing. Um, you know, I understand the bitterness or maybe possibly even a little bit of the resentment that's going on. I'm empathetic to it. It's okay to say that here, guys. This is the Red Pill Sports and Entertainment Show. We think contrarian, we think outside the box, we understand and say the politically incorrect thing. Okay? So, I completely understand those of you who may be frustrated right now and having, just being feeling upset that you have to give up what you love because of those that may be immune compromised, those that may be older, those that may not have taken as good care of themselves, and essentially we're being told we have to give up the things that we love you know because they didn't do the right things when they had the chance. So I understand that, and I think that we are completely justified in having that frustration, having being upset with it. It is what it is, guys. It's not going to go away. So just embrace it and acknowledge it and say it is what it is. You have a complete right to be upset. Now, like I said, we're the Red Pill Sports and Entertainment Show, so we're going to say some things that are pretty unpopular at times, that are outside the box, that are contrarian to what you're hearing on the media. Um, you know, Guys, I've been listening to a lot of news, not just to the news that comes on here in the West, but international news. There's some things that are breaking that are taking a long time to filter into our media, and it really has to make you wonder why. About a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, I heard that they could treat this COVID 19 with anti malaria drugs. Uh, it's quote unquote breaking news this morning or late last night that the president's going to fast track the use of this anti malaria drug. So when we see these things, and I know that a lot of the jiu-jitsu community is also very contrarian, Joe Rogan esque, if you will. I understand why there's a lot of frustration. So, this is where I'm going with this particular angle, guys, and what it means to jiu-jitsu. Because of this slow turnaround on information, because of this frustration of saying, no, you can't do the things that you love, now we're hearing about forced closures of bars and restaurants and other things as well. Um, you're going to see a very 1920s, if this lasts, right? Because now they're talking about this could go all the way through summer, and we're looking at the end of summer before some of these restrictions are lifted. If they push this that long, you're going to see a very 1920s style of mentality from the public. You're going to see jiu-jitsu speakeasies, right? Or fight clubs, if you will. Uh, they're going to arise out of this. It's going to really change the landscape of um, jiu-jitsu schools and what jiu-jitsu schools have been popular, which jiu-jitsu schools have been successful. Um, it's really going to change. It's going to change the paradigm when it comes to how people train jiu-jitsu, what they think of jiu-jitsu, where do they go to train jiu-jitsu, the concept and ideas about, well, you need to have a black belt uh, instruct you, and this, that, and the other. Those were already breaking down. I think they're going to break down even further. Um, People are not, and especially here in the United States, you know, we have a culture of freedom here, right? We have a culture of being able to, you know, take the responsibility of freedom and do what we would like to do with our life. So while people may comply very short term, and when I say short term, I'm saying a week, 2 weeks, as this thing pushes into a month, into 6 weeks, people are not going to want to comply. So not only will you see the rise of speakeasies for jiu-jitsu, but you'll see these speakeasies, quote unquote, right, rise up in, the bar, the casino, all these other industries. And simply because, we are social creatures, we are social animals, and we're going to do what we want to do and what we need to do many times, right? Which is get that uh, human interaction into our life. Like socially, we need that. Um, so, this is what it means for jujitsu. Um, Further, as this, like I said, as this is going to go ahead and change the landscape of the jiu-jitsu community, um, it really has to have you wonder who's going to survive, because a lot of people think that this might really hurt the small jiu-jitsu school, right? The small jiu-jitsu academy, the Wildcat Academy, right? And that's pretty true. I'm not saying that they're not going to be hurt. That being said, sometimes being small means you can also be more nimble, right? And so there's a possibility that, the smaller schools, as I was stating, they kind of somehow piggyback on top of these jujitsu speakeasy kind of ideas and concepts and come out of this a bit stronger. Where the larger schools, while they are larger and they do have more cash flow and they do have more money coming in, that also means many times they have bigger bills, right? They have to pay for a bigger facility. They have to, they have more mat space. They're generally doing more deep cleaning and things of that nature. It also means that, when they lose 10% of their students, it's a much bigger hit, cash flow wise, than with a smaller school. And sometimes, I don't know, I have no idea how everybody's books work. I just know how sometimes business works in general. But sometimes, as you become a bigger and bigger business, sometimes you push towards the limit of your cash flow, right? So that, what I mean is that you're operating with a very small margin of profit because you have so much cash flow. And if your cash flow gets significantly reduced, then, you know, you're not quite able to operate the same way. So it's going to be very, very interesting. And not only do I think that these little fight clubs, these wildcat jiu-jitsu gyms, these jiu-jitsu speakeasies will rise up, but like I said, it'll be across the board. It'll be with wrestling, it'll be with boxing, and it'll be with MMA. We are a community of men, of warriors that have adopted a certain lifestyle, a certain mentality. It's not going to be as easy as just shutting it off. Okay, it just is not. And like I said, they might be compliant for the benefit of everybody for the first week or 2 weeks, but to ask people to self isolate for longer than that, I just think it's unrealistic. It's not going to happen. Um, so, what does that mean for the uh, scene of jujitsu? Well, I think because you're going to see some melding and crossing of ideas, right? You're going to have people reaching out to maybe, gyms or to schools or to training partners that they wouldn't normally have reached out to, through this new network, this underground network of people who will want to continue training. I think what you're going to see is you're going to see some new names and some new faces emerge when this all blows over. And it's going to seem like these guys have just come out of nowhere. It's going to be super surprising. People are going to be extremely surprised that, hey, who is this team? Who are these guys? And what's going to have happened is these guys have, for continuing to train, right, and bringing ideas and new concepts to each other, bringing new modes of training, they're going to help. It's going to help evolve the sport. Okay. Now I know that this is not what people are supposed to be doing. I'm sure there are some states that are already trying to make this illegal, and that's why I said it's going to be very 1920s style, right? Kind of Harlem Nights, right? Kind of got to knock on the door and know the password and yada yada and whatever else to get into the gym. Um, it's going to happen, guys. It's going to happen. I'm not advocating it. I'm not saying that you should do this. I'm just telling you what I believe is going to happen, just based on the nature of human beings. Okay, we're the Red Pill Sports and Entertainment Show. We talk about the truth, the reality of what the world is, and the reality is that you know we're being told that 20% of those that are infected don't even show signs or symptoms. Okay, we're being told that 80% of those uh, that are infected, right, or excuse me, 20% of the population will be infected. 80% of those that are infected will only show mild or no symptoms, right? So when people aren't showing symptoms, they're going to get very, very frustrated. Okay, they're going to get frustrated that they're in their home, they don't feel sick, they might even have tested positive already, or they don't even know if they're positive because they haven't gotten tested because they're not showing symptoms. They're going to get very, very frustrated about having to live in their home without doing the things that they love. Okay. And like I said, I'm not talking about week 1 or week 2. Okay. I'm talking about week 3, week 4, week 6. Okay. That's a very long time to, you know, go without doing something that you love, that you love with no uh, imminent danger that you can see or you can sense or that you can feel. Okay? It just is what it is, guys. Okay? We're really trying to protect about 20% of the population. Now my personal opinion on that, again, red pill, guys, I'm going to tell you what I think. I think we're going about it all wrong. You know, um, I just went to go, try and eat at a restaurant right before the state closed it. Lo and behold, all the people we're trying to protect, right? All these 60, 70 year olds, they're out there on the porch drinking, having beer, smoking cigarettes, and they don't really seem to give a damn. And in a way, I kind of understand the philosophy. They've lived through a lot of things, guys, and they live their life, and they're not going to want to live the end of their life basically doing nothing and you know uh, living scared the last days of their lives, if in fact that happens to be the case. Um, so I just think that when we see these kind of things, these kind of behaviors coming from the population that we're actually trying to protect, when we're not feeling the effects of this virus, when we're not feeling the effect of the infection, right? I think that pretty much that's going to drive people uh, to just disregard any of this social distancing. And if states and if cities want to start passing laws forcing people to, you know, create a certain distance, like I said, it's going to become very 1920s. People will still gather, but it'll be done on a very down low type of area, or type of scene. And I would also say that you, for those of you who don't like technology, you might see a little bit of a fall in the use of smartphones, right? Because if you're not supposed to be at social gatherings, then you're not going to be posting that you're at a social gathering, right? If you're not supposed to be gathering up, and of course they'll start using, technology to track you and whatnot, you're going to start leaving your phone at home, right? So, or leaving it in the car or whatever the case may be. So, you might see a drop off in cell phone use, in smartphone use, uh, you know, if this really pushes on through the summer. But you know, I think it means that we could see some very cool innovations in jiu-jitsu long term, and that's what I see. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna kind of cut it short. I'm gonna start trying to put up shorter videos rather than longer videos, simply because time constraints. Everybody has a lot of things on their plate right now. Everybody's trying to hustle, get their things done. So I do too, bro. I do too. So, anyhow, guys, remember, be practical, be purposeful, get fit with a purpose.